Castle Wolfenstein was released in 1981 by a man named Silas Warner under Muse Software for the Apple II computer. The game was a two-dimensional adventure game that had the player stealthily infiltrate a Nazi stronghold to uncover secret war plans and escape in one piece. Although a sequel was made much in the same style 3 years later, it would be the breakout hit Wolfenstein 3D by id Software in 1992 that would shape many gamers' memories of the series from a slow and simple stealth game to a full-action, violent first-person shooter with an emphasis on killing rather than resource management and survival. For the years to come, the series would see main protagonist B.J. Blazkowicz slaughter armies of Nazi troops, officers, and various video game forms of Adolf Hitler in sequels, reboots, a free-to-play multiplayer game, and even a first-person turn-based dungeon crawler on mobile devices. So, should we care about Wolfenstein: The New Order?
I often wonder what kind of a god would sanction suffering such as this, and I question myself whether my faith is misplaced.
Maybe he's testing us.
Well, Egyptian, if he is testing us, we are failing gloriously.
Developed by a new studio called MachineGames, made up of ex-Starbreeze people of the Riddick and Darkness games, New Order does action-based first-person shooter the way Singularity did science fiction first-person shooter back in 2010 in a very similar fashion. By building these small details you can come across in the world, they provide a strange reflection on real-world events based in an imaginary timeline. Both games have been able to give a strong sense of time and place for the world you're exploring. While fighting Nazis in World War II, B.J. Blazkowicz, your main character, sustains major head trauma and is knocked into a sort of coma for roughly 15 years. Upon gaining his senses, he finds out that Nazi Germany not only won the war, but has dominated the whole world. Being the deeply written character he is, he decides he will continue killing Nazis because, really, what else is there to do?
Shooting, stabbing, strangling Nazis.
Okay, I know. The writing isn't the strongest thing I can say about this game. It borders from serviceable to set up reasons why things are happening in this world, to silly action movie tropes for entertainment reasons. This might be a problem for some people who might care about a respective and deep look at what may have become of humanity if some of the most cruel people in the world had control of it. But then again, if you were coming to Wolfenstein for such a thing, you likely have no idea what the game series has always been about.
Strangling Nazis.
And trust me, you kill Nazis. Lots of Nazis. In some of the most gruesome and scarily satisfying ways we've ever seen from the series. I feel this is largely why the game doesn't really have to care about the quality of its story writing. I mean, just having the inarguable biggest menace to humanity from the real-world history as the main villain automatically leads to the inevitable conclusion of, they're bad, you're good, with little to no contemplative look into character building or backstory. Sure, they give BJ some lines remembering his childhood and some messed up stuff he's seen, and even try to ham-fist a love connection in there somehow.
I want this. With you. Like this. Always.
But at the end of the day, it's very basic and tropey, and just seems to be there to build up the basic shell of a human being, rather than give depth to a character. Should this matter? In most cases, probably, but New Order gets a pass simply on the basis that whatever time they saved by trying to write a narrative went into make the gameplay feel smooth and fantastic. It should go without saying that a shooter should have great gunplay, but very few have tackled stealth in a way that felt both satisfying and easy from a first-person perspective. Maybe more importantly, the ability to stealthily kill foes but also succeed guns blazing gives a bit more player agency when deciding how to take on certain situations. Whether you're crouching in the shadows and throwing knives, or running in with guns in both arms, expending more ammo than you're picking up, players are able to feel like a badass, and accomplish much of the same thing. Alright, I don't usually like to go into techie aspects of games, mainly because judging a game based on how many frames did I get seems shallow and kind of unimportant. In this case though, I'm going to make an exception because running on roughly 2-year-old hardware from the time I'm making this video, New Order runs fine at the highest settings I'd say, and like butter dumbed down a little bit. So what, all games run better dumbed down, you're asking? Well, what's most impressive to me is that, besides some nitpicky differences you only would notice if you're a video snob of some sort, even on the medium settings on PC, this game looks like what you might describe next gen looks like. I mean sure, the pre-rendered cutscenes will always look the same at almost any setting, but even just walking around the world and looking across horizons of war-torn battlefields or in the depths of a flooded sewer system, it looks outstanding. So just what am I going to get from this game, you're probably asking? Well, basically you're going to get a single player campaign at roughly 10 hours to complete with some awesome set pieces, some fun combat, some new shooter playability with old school simplicity, and great graphics. Nothing more. I mean, this isn't going to help you pass a thesis on the effects of Nazis ruling the world, nor will it win any Story of the Year awards. However, if you've been looking for an FPS game that deals with satisfying gameplay and doesn't take itself too seriously, you should care about Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Nazi scum.